I'm Joey Drake. I do vocals in Splitknuckle. I'm in a few other bands, but the main thing that people know me for is Splitknuckle. Unfortunately for everyone else, but yeah, that's really it. I do vocals in that. I do some other instruments in other bands, but yeah, that's the main thing, really. So yeah, when I was in primary school, which is like the first school that you go into when you're a kid, I don't know what you'd call that here, but yeah, primary school is like the first, you know, from age 4 onwards. I think Green Day was essentially like my first introduction to guitar music. That's what made me want to learn guitar, because around, I don't know what age I was, but Green Day came out with American Idiot. It was a big thing, and you know, I knew a guy in my school who, he was like a good guitarist kind of thing, and I remember seeing him play, and I just thought like, that's really cool. Like, I don't know, there was something about it that just drew me to that thing. So from there I started doing guitar lessons, and I was never very good at guitar, but yeah, went from there and ended up starting to play, starting to try and play drums, and ended up starting a band called Splitknuckle on guitar, and yeah, went from there, really. Green Day was that was my thing, you know. I'm a diehard Green Day fan, you know. Technically, the first hardcore band that I ever heard was Irate, and it was the Vendetta music video. So I was a metalhead. So from Green Day, I got into like Slipknot, Slayer, you know, your average, you know, kind of thing. And then there was like a local, to me, like a metalhead kind of guy. This is back in MySpace days. He posted up, like, he would always post like metal videos and stuff like that. He posted an R8 video, and I remember so clearly looking at it and seeing like, this is not the normal kind of thing that I'm used to, kind of thing. Like, you know, I was used to people with their shirts off, big sweaty guys, you know, just pushing into each other and stuff like that, you know. So I found it interesting that they was clearly, you know, they're swinging their arms around, swinging their legs around. I was like, this is crazy. But I didn't really look into it too much, until years later. I was playing in like a metalcore kind of band. I did vocals in that band, and we played a certain show, and there was a guy in the crowd who started like hardcore dancing, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? But I liked it because it was like, it seemed a lot more personal, of an interaction between me standing there with a microphone and then someone in the crowd like throwing everything that they have into, you know, our set and responding to our set. And that thing there like intrigued me because it was like another level of interaction kind of thing. And then from there I kind of spoke to people and work out that that's like a hardcore dancing thing. And then yeah, from there I looked up hardcore bands, and I discovered like Your Demise and Brutality Without Terror, you know, and bands like that, and kind of went from there, really, you know. It was like, I knew people that knew this guy, this one guy who was like hardcore dancing, and I asked them, I was like, did you see the guy who was in a North Face jacket with his hood up? Like, because the whole crowd was like horseshoeing around him, like thinking like, what the fuck is this guy doing? You know what I mean? And and they were almost like laughing at him. But the way that I saw it was like, that's the realest guy in the room, you know what I mean? Because he was like doing this thing, like he was like with us, you know, like playing, you know, it was an interaction kind of thing. And then from there, through speaking to people who knew him, they told me that he was into like hardcore bands and stuff like that. And I think that interested me. And then the only band that I'd ever heard of being like hardcore at that time was like a Your Demise or a Brutality Prevail kind of thing. And then from there, you know, got into them bands, and then yeah.
We're Splitknuckle from Essex. Let's give you a little taste of SKC and LBU. Move the fuck around. man.
I'm from Essex, that is east of London. But I've spent a lot of time in London. I currently live in London. Yeah, we're very much connected, kind of thing. There's a lot of history there. What I grew up with was more the metalcore scene, and that's what I was very much a part of, you know, back then, until I was about 16 or 17, because maybe since 2007, I've been playing in bands. Like, I'm 30 now, but since 2007, I've been playing in bands and playing around like my area, London, you know, like the kind of southeast of England kind of thing. And when I got educated on hardcore, I discovered that there was like a scene that had existed, that was like the Essex hardcore scene, that was basically ran by the EBD crew, which is the Essex Beatdown crew, which is not exclusively Beatdown, but it's like they had punk bands like Death Skulls and you know, other bands like this, and they had their own scene. But a lot of them bands like Special Move and stuff like that, Raiden, they had split up by the time that I got into hardcore. So there was like nothing really in Essex. So all we had then was London for like current active kind of hardcore shows. We were doing our local hardcore shows in Essex, but it was just us younger kids putting on, you know, shows and whatever. But London had, like, you know, the whole LBU scene. They had the 12 Bar, which was like they had a residency at that venue. So yeah, that was happening back then. And yeah, we was up in London all the time, you know, going to them shows. So yeah, I've got to say, like, compared to now, it was a lot more aggressive. And I'm not saying that that's a good thing or a bad thing. There's good things and there's bad things about both of them, you know, points. It was a lot more like, I used to go to shows, and a certain level of that might be my age back then, because I'm a lot more grown up now. Maybe not as scared of things as I used to be. But when I was younger, I'd go to hardcore shows, and I'd feel like a tension, you know, in the air. And, you know, now it's pretty chill, mostly, you know, it's pretty chill, which is good for a lot of people for all different reasons, you know.
No Diddy. Ignore the lotion. Everyone wipe your ass. Essex is in the fucking house. I don't care how you feel about that. That's how it is. That's how it's gonna be until the end of the set. Feel a certain way. Come chat to geezers. This next song is a fucking song. So how about that? Shove it up your fucking ass. Lovers in the room, tell them that you love them. I ain't gonna do it for you.
before COVID, I think that a lot of kids who may like the music would see the live shows and they would be intimidated, and they would have that feeling that I used to feel, you know? But when I used to have that feeling, it made me want to lean into it and experience more of it, you know? Whereas there's a lot of kids that before COVID would have heard the songs and maybe thought, I like this, but they would see the live shows and they would think that it was like a bully kind of environment, you know, where it's like people just beat the shit out of, you know, one person or whatever. Whereas I think during COVID, I think that a lot of people could do their research. I think there's a lot of people who didn't do enough research. Definitely. That is like, I stand by that. There's a lot of people who didn't do enough research. They saw a lot of live videos. So I think what COVID did is everyone was safe in their homes, right? And I think that people discovered bands that they liked their music, and then they looked up live videos, and then they saw the live videos and they saw one guy hitting his friend, and they thought, okay, like, I can practice now, you know, like I can practice my moves and I just can kick a guy or turn around to a guy and punch him in the face, you know, and that's just what they do. And then when COVID ended, I think that you just saw out of nowhere, there is just all of these kids appearing, which is a good thing. I think you know, there's pros and there's cons to that, but you know, there's all these kids kind of turning up and but they're not really understanding, like, you know. But when I got into hardcore, I was very lucky to have OGs who took me in. They saw that I just really cared about the music, took me in, and they kind of like taught me, you know, indirectly, like what was what, you know, like what you do and what you don't do, you know. And also there was a level of me understanding, standing back at shows and realizing like, oh, that guy is part of these people, and you know, this, and working out what's going on. Whereas a lot of kids now, they'll just go to the show, they'll be in the front, which is not bad, but then they don't understand that certain things are bigger than just them, kind of thing. There's other people here. You know, a lot of us are all connected, you know. When we go to hardcore shows for years, we get to know each other, you know. And a lot of times when you have your local shows, you'll know who's who, and you'll know who is a newer person. But they don't realize that you all kind of know each other, right? And I think that's the one thing that, like, there's not enough, like, research on, like... And that's what I mean, is that when it's done only through the internet, you can't really understand the whole thing. You either find out by going to shows and being very humble and maybe having the confidence to speak to some people who clearly know what is going on, and they will educate you if you're lucky. You know, you have to get the right person who really wants to take the time to educate you. Or you find out the hard way. You, like some of these TikTok kids, no offense, you know, no offense, but they'll turn up to a show, they'll hit the wrong guy, and it's a problem, you know. And there's them two ways of finding out, you know. And I think it's important for kids to understand that, like, the thing that makes hardcore, it's not the dancing. It's also like the community. The community is like so strong, like, and it's such an important thing. That's what they have to understand. And within that community, yes, you do have different groups of friends. You do have all of these different things, but they all know each other, you know. They all know each other, and that's really important, you know.
I want to thank Ieperfest for having us here. We represent local underground hardcore. We represent local venue and seeing a load of hardcore bands. We are not about trying to get big or any bullshit like that, and that's no disrespect to those who are, but we belong with the people, because we are the people. That is it. That's all it's ever been, and that's all it will ever be until we fucking die. That's it. That's it. And it will never be more than that. And if we can do it, you can fucking do it too. We didn't always know what to do. I didn't always know what to say. We just did this shit for enough years that I can talk shit for fucking days on this microphone. And that's it, yeah? No one is good when they start. No one is good when they start. You just have to fucking do it because you love this shit and you want to participate and you want to do this shit. That is it. I don't care. Fuck off. That's it. This song, it's called Breathing Through the Wound. It's about when I nearly killed myself, but I fucking didn't. And I'm glad that I didn't.
Matt, our drummer, I knew him because he used to go to like kind of metalcore shows, and I either went to metalcore shows or I was playing the metalcore shows, and I'd seen him around in a very similar way to hardcore. You know, you see the same face around, you might walk past and say, "What's up?" You know, like, and that's just, even that little interaction is the seed for just talking more and more every time you see each other. And that's how me and Matt, the drummer, met. Our old vocalist, Jordan, I met in the same way. Our guitarist, Liam, I met through both of our metalcore bands playing with each other. And we lost a guitarist, so he filled in for my metalcore band. So that's how me and Liam started knowing each other. And then ultimately it was like we just brought everyone together, or like me, the vocalist, and Matt, our drummer, we just decided like, you know, we should start a fucking hardcore band, you know, but like a heavy hardcore band. We was thinking like Zabulba, Brutality with Revel kind of vibes. Like this is back in 2012, you know, well, late 2011 going into 2012. And I just thought like we need a second guitarist. So I asked Liam, because he's way better at guitar than I am, you know. So I asked him and he said, yeah. And then, yeah, we for the first 2 years of Splitknuckle, we sounded like a shit version of Zabulba or you know, Brutality with Rebel kind of thing. Yeah, and then from there, there was like some friendship stuff that happened, and our vocalist left, and I'd already done vocals in metalcore bands, so we had a 4-track like demo written, because we was going to change our sound to be a lot more like Special Move, Beat Down Fury, you know, kind of vibes. And I just said, what if I just do the vocals on the demo, and then, you know, after that we will just find a vocalist who can just do the vocals. And we did that, and then I think we all kind of decided like I would just be on vocals, and then our friend Christy, who me and him was in a band at some point together as well, he was really interested in the whole thing. He helped us do artwork and stuff like that, so he just joined the band, and then I mean the rest is history, to be honest. And that 4-track was Nothing Left Unsaid, which is the first thing that Splitknuckle, you know, this Splitknuckle is ever released in 2014. So that was that.
So being a band for 10 years now, how does it feel still playing with Splitknuckle? Do you still feel comfortable about it? Is it still fun? Is it more pressure because you think like, I need to write the music or stuff like that? How does it feel?
I think that if being 10 years into this, I mean, 2012, I mean, we're like 12 or 13 years now. So like, if it felt like there was pressure, we would not do it. If this band felt pressure today, we would be split up tomorrow, kind of thing. The most important thing for this band is to remain friends, right? So we don't feel like there's any pressure or any, you know, like we have to act a certain way. We're very much like we're comfortable being like, I don't want to say underground band, but like we're comfortable being like we want to participate in hardcore. We want to serve hardcore. We want to, you know, I don't know, just exist in that space. If we get offered bigger shows that are outside of hardcore and we can all do it, we're going to go and do it. But the message, if we go and do the more industry kind of shows, is always going to be, if you like what you're hearing here, there's this thing called hardcore over here. And trust me, if you like this shit, there's some good bands over here, kind of thing. That it's like sending a message kind of thing. The ethics of the band has always stayed the same. If us 5 are still friends, and if we still enjoyed the music, we'll still keep doing it. And it's easy, bro. It's so easy. Like when you're friends with each other and you actually focus on the friendship first, the whole thing is easy. Like it's been so simple. It's like a dream. I can't lie. Like it's, I don't know. Sometimes we might have arguments when, like, you know, we're all crammed in a car on the way here, you know, like this happens, but you know, it's, I don't know. We're brothers at the end of the day, you know.
Talking about playing bigger shows and stuff like that, is there anything memorable about or in the history of Splitknuckle where you say, okay, this was a kind of a turning point, or this was a show that was like, whoa, for me? I mean, you played Ieperfest a few weeks back, which was a pretty big thing, I guess. Do you have something in mind, like that I have up directly when I say what is the most memorable thing you played with Splitknuckle?
I think 3 different shows that I'd talk about with that is the first one being the first time that we was able to play at the 12 bar in London for the LBU guys, because when we were between 2012 and 2014, when we was a shit band, no one wanted to book Splitknuckle. People will lie and say, I never even heard them, so how could I have not booked them? I've never even heard them. Bullshit. I used to be on the social media. I used to be there messaging every fucking person like, yo, please check out my band. Can we like play a show? We'll do it for free, this, that, the other. No one. Yeah. So there's like a few, like maybe 3 or 4 people who did book us. There was a guy called Johnny Pipes who runs, used to run Rage Records. He's in Realm of Torment in Southampton. He put us on a show. Ben Noel, who used to run At Risk Promotions in London, he put us on a show. And then the Ruction Records LBU guys, you know, they had a residency at the legendary 12 Bar in London, which was, they was our inspirations, you know. So they booked us. They were the coolest guys in our world, right? As far as we saw, they was the coolest fucking guys, and they booked us before all of the guys who were just like us, you know. They were the cool guys, and they fucking booked us. And as soon as we turned up to the venue, Pierre, who I play drums in, bummed them out. He's the vocalist. First thing that he did when we turned up there, he came around and he spudded up every single one of us, you know, and was like, yes, boys, like, you know, good to have you here, kind of thing. That shit meant the world, bruv. And that to me summarizes like the attitude of, you know, how everyone should be, kind of thing. Like, there's no one in this earth, you know, that I'm too cool to speak to or any bullshit like that, you know. Them guys, like, yeah, they, you know, they summarized it for us. And that's that one. I think our release show, when we did, you know, the album, I think that was a big one, because people will pretend that they thought that we could do it, but people didn't think that we could do it. There's some people that thought that we couldn't sell out that venue, and, you know, we weren't sure if we could, but the lineup was correct. It was good bands playing. It was not really promoted, to be honest, but it sold out, and that was incredible. And that really felt like, it's always felt right what we're doing, but it felt like, it was like reassurance that, you know, it's not all for nothing, you know, it's not wasted energy for the last 10 years, you know, 10 plus years, you know. Yeah, that was an incredible night. Outbreak, I think we've played 3 or 4 Outbreaks, right? But this one was the first time that we've headlined any of the stages. It's an honor, but at the same time, we're not really trying to be like a big deal. We're not trying to be rock stars. So the message there of us playing, and the duty that, you know, we take on for that, is basically to advertise. If you like this band, and say you might not go to local shows, you might only come to big festivals like Outbreak or a Download or whatever else, there's bands like us in your area who share the same ethics, or, you know, they sound kind of similar maybe. So, you know, it was more of an opportunity to tell people about the hardcore actual scene, because a lot of people might like hardcore. Not everyone likes the hardcore scene and supports the actual scene, you know. So.
Thank you very much. The next song is about supporting your scene. It's not about just turning up to shit like this. It's about supporting the shit where only 20 people are there. That's on you. Essex. Till I die.
know, man. I'll be real. Maybe there has been points where, I mean, US hardcore has always been so active, you know. But I guess maybe in times where things have been a little bit slower, or COVID, people are, because they've got so much more time, they're like, oh, you know what? Like, because the argument is that a lot of people say this, where they're like, they say that American people don't pay attention to bands that are not outside of America. You have to remember is they've got so many bands. I mean, if you talk to a lot of Americans, they've not even seen half of America, you know. So like they're literally struggling to even check out all of the bands that they've got, kind of thing. I don't even know all the bands that the UK has got. And you look at the size difference, you know what I mean? So it's crazy. So I think maybe stuff like COVID, people are maybe exploring other things. I know that in our case, it's like, you know, we're very lucky enough that we've built up enough friends through just you know, not acting like a rock star or any kind of bullshit like that, just being a normal fucking person. We've built up enough friends that like maybe people like kind of slid us, you know, they was like, you know what, you should check out this band, bro. Like, you know, maybe that happened. I don't know, like there's maybe a couple of people who did this or whatever, but yeah, it was like when that happened, it was Carter, who runs From Within Records, and Lumpy from Days, like they messaged us, and I don't know, man. Yeah, they just said like, I love your band, you know, like if you ever want to put something out or whatever. And we was honestly honored, you know. And then from there, you know, once Lumpy, you know, was up for doing the album, he just came at us with a load of US dates, and we was like, fucking of course, bro, like, you know. But then with that is like, we felt like, okay, cool, we're gonna go to the US. So the two main bands that influenced the Splitknuckle sound, which is Splitknuckle and Beatdown Fury, BDF, they never got to play the States, right? So when we go there, it feels important to like tell people about them bands, you know, because we wouldn't sound the way that we sound without them. We'd probably be a generic fucking hardcore band, like, you know, very standard. So yeah, I don't know what it was, but I feel like now there's a lot more crossing over borders for everyone, and I think that that's just such a positive thing, because there's really good quality hardcore in like most countries now. You know, you can always name like at least one band from a country that is like sick. Yeah, so that's like mad positive, bro.
It's been a pleasure to be here, but we only have one song left, and it is about empowering yourself and believing in yourself and your vision and your scene, and saying fuck you to them lot who do not understand what this shit really means. So if you really care about this shit, if this kind of sound is some shit that you like, come forward and fuck some shit up, yeah? This is for everyone. This song is called Fuck Your Whole Life. And it goes out to anyone that ain't our people.
I agree, bro. Like, I can't, I'll be real. Like, the thing is, because our main songwriter in Splitknuckle is our guitarist Liam. Now, I mean, this makes sense, but he's fucked up his foot now, because when we was in Thailand, we was playing with a band and they did a Knuckle Dust cover, and he was fucking people up, bro. Like, he was fucking people up. He dislocated his ankle, and then also in the same time broke the bone above it, right? But he's a great mosher, right? So when he writes songs, he is thinking about what he would probably mosh to and shit like that. Like, he's a metalhead like me originally, you know. We didn't come in from punk, we came in from metal, you know. So he's a metalhead like me. So our music is a lot more metal influenced, but it's definitely like stuff that he would mosh to, stuff that I would mosh to. We all have an input when we write songs or whatever. But yeah, there's definitely like the intention is in mind is like thinking about the live show, and like, you know, man, you don't want to see people just stood there, because you know what, if you play a hardcore show, right, even if people know that you are not like a beatdown band or have moshing or whatever, there's still a fucking horseshoe, bro. Like, it's still going to exist. So the thing is like, you may as well write music that fills up that space, you know what I mean? Like, it makes fucking sense. And yeah, geezer's like moshing, bro. Like, I love moshing, bro. It's, you know, my body is completely fucked from it. I feel it daily, but yeah, it's like, you gotta do it, brother. So yeah, it'd probably change daily or my mood or whatever, but big influential one for me, and I can speak for the others when I say this, Level 5 by Special Move. I guess Raiden, The Killing Fist, Time Won't Heal This by Knuckle Dust. I've got to say Urban Legends, Namba. I've got to say it. There's more that I can think of, but yeah. If it was 4, that's the first 4 that come to my head. The answer will change tomorrow and the next day, you know. I mean, that's like that's where I draw my inspiration from, and that's never any disrespect to any other countries, you know, because like each country has their own flavor, and this is the thing that I think is very important. Is like, I'm not saying that if you're from a certain country, you have to sound like the bands in your country. But I just think that now, like, because everything is so online and internet, that the regional sounds they're getting more and more lost, you know? And for me personally, I'm so proud to be part of, you know, a team. Like, my OGs literally wrote Time Won't Heal This, you know? Like, people who I'm friends with now wrote that shit, you know? Like, and like, OG Bun Them Out shit, you know, OG Namba shit. I know these guys, you know? I feel like I'm like they're younger. So like, that's what inspires me, you know? And these are good people as well. So I'm like, no, I'm part of this thing right here, you know? Like, I fucking love UK hardcore. So that's why, you know, when I look for inspiration, it's that, and they're the things that I kind of come back to is that kind of shit. Special Move, when I was introduced to them, I was told like, this is a sick band. And while hearing it, I was told this band's from Essex. Now, I'm getting told this at a time where there is fuck all going on in Essex, right? And I'm like, yo, not only is this some of the sickest shit that I've ever heard, it's also from where I fucking live, bro. What the fuck? Like, that to me is like, how could I want to sound any other way? You know what I mean? Like, this shit came from the soil that I walk on, bro. Like, that's a big thing, bro. Like, that's a mad thing. And yeah, that makes complete sense, bro. You've got, and even then it's like, you know, like, I can't remember directly who they was like kind of inspired by or whatever, but bands like Knuckle Dust, Special Move, you know, all these bands, they're inspired by bands that might be like US bands mixed with UK bands, but because they might not be able to play them band songs correctly, they do their own interpretation, and that's how you create your own little thing, and that's so important, man. Yeah, you know, don't copy people, be influenced by people. That's important.
Thank you so much. We represent what you can do with hardcore, and that is do your thing and have fun. Main thing is remain friends with the people that you do it with. Representing Days, representing Northern and Rest. It's a UK hardcore thing. Much respect, much love to everyone who participated and had us here. Thank you.
The answer, I'm very happy to say, would be the same as if you asked me that 8 years ago, which is, I love my brothers, love hardcore. Honestly, for me, I want to do this till I die. As long as this works, I'm gonna try and do this shit forever, bro. We've got some stuff like songs we're writing and stuff like that at the moment. It takes us a bit of time because the thing is like, people say, you know, sometimes they're like, you know, it takes you a long time to get material out, but I'd rather it takes a long time to get material out. One, we're happy with it. Two, we don't stress about it. Other bands might be around for 1 or 2 years. They might have a load of releases that came out and then they're going to split up. You know what I mean? We're going to be here for as long as possible, you know, and like keep encouraging kids to come in and like try and teach them the right kind of way and preserve the old ways, you know what I mean? Which is important. And you can only do that if you're having a good time yourself. And we're just keeping it chill, man. We got shit coming. Yeah, it's coming. The intention was to stay for the whole weekend, but Larry, our bass player who drove us here, he's kind of, he's changed what's happening. Hatebreed today, fuck yes. And then any other band that I can check out, of course, like I just like checking out bands that I haven't heard before. And to be honest, complete transparency, I haven't heard of a lot of the bands that are playing today. So yeah, ideally check them out. Definitely Hatebreed. I mean, as soon as I saw that stage outside, I'm like, they're playing that, bro. That is fucked up that they're playing that shit. Yeah, Crawl Space, I'm a big fan, bro. Like, I'm a big fucking fan. Obviously we got fucking Killing Me Softly, Demonstration of Power, Despise, The Flex. I mean, you know, there's so many fucking bands that are crazy who are playing. Pain and Truth are playing today as well. Yeah, fuck yeah, they're sick. Yeah, fucking loads of people, loads of people. You're never too experienced to learn more about what the shit is supposed to mean. Talk to OGs. Treat younger people with respect and understanding that they don't know what is going on, and you teach them. Don't expect them to find out on their own. Yeah, you teach them, because we're living in an age where there's a lot of kids coming in. It's your responsibility to teach them. Don't be a dickhead. Treat people with respect, and you're never too cool to talk to someone. No one is a rock star in this bullshit. We're all fucking losers, and no one outside of this shit understands why we do what we do. Know what I mean? SKC, LBU, that's it. Love.